What is going on, y'all? This is Pay Me in Dividends, and today is June 11th, 2025. Again, excuse the audio. I'm on the move right now, but hopefully you guys can hear me clearly. But I want to talk about a couple Palantir option income ETFs, right? So these are based off of Palantir. All of you are aware of what Palantir is, what they're doing, right? They're doing a lot of big things. And so I want to show you guys a couple ways that you can capitalize off Palantir's success and generate some income. So I have two. I have one PLTY from YieldMax, and then I have another one PLTW from Roundhill, and they both implement different strategies, and I'll show you guys here in a moment the biggest difference. But before we do that, let's just look at Palantir, the actual stock itself. So you can see that, over the past year, they're up over 450%. Year to date, they're up 76%. And they are really expanding. You can see their net profit margin is at a healthy percentage. You typically want to see above 10% net profit margin, anywhere from like 10 to 20%. And you can see Palantir is around 24%. So that means that for every dollar of revenue that they generate, 24% of it is profit, which is what you want to see. And you can see year over year, their revenue has gone up a lot, their net income and their net profit margin. All right. And then there's one thing I like to do. All right. So I like to go on ChatGPT or whichever AI service you like to use, and just see what type of information I can come up with. So what I asked ChatGPT is, what contracts has Palantir secured over the next 10 years? And the reason I like to do this is because when I invest into these income ETFs, I like to know exactly what the underlying is, sort of like Misty from YieldMax, right? MSTY. I want to, you got to kind of have some belief in Bitcoin, because MicroStrategy buys so much Bitcoin. And so same thing with these option income ETFs. And this is what ChatGPT has came up with. And we'll just go down here to kind of a summary of what it's showed me, right? So you can see that they have a lot of different contracts. They have a lot of Department of Defense contracts worth a lot of money, right? This one is worth $480 million, plus an additional almost $800 million modification that was made recently. And it looks like this contract is good till 2029. You have a few other ones here as well that end. This one looks like early 2030s. Not really sure exactly the end date on this. But the projected return on this is $100 million. So nonetheless, I'm not going to do too much of a deep dive on Palantir itself. This is something that you guys can research on your own. But just to kind of give you an idea of how I like to, the angle that I like to come at when it comes to these income ETFs, I want to make sure the underlying is solid, all right? So I just want to start off with that. I think that's a very fundamental key when investing into anything. So let's look at PLTY first, all right? So PLTY, just keep in mind that they do not invest directly into Palantir. This is a synthetic option. Now, if you look at the dividend yield, the dividend yield is insane. It is up there with MSTY, Misty. All right, and if you look at the share price since inception, it has appreciated. All right, it has appreciated. You can see over the past month, it's up about 8%, and they are paying out this crazy dividend yield. Now, they pay on a monthly basis, and I think these are the two biggest distinctions between PLTY and PLTW, right? Is that PLTW pays weekly, whereas PLTY pays on a monthly basis. And if you see here, the dividend yield on PLTW is a bit lower. It's still extremely high. I mean, these dividend yields are ridiculous either way. I think anything above like 20% is crazy. I mean, these are yields that we haven't seen. This is really a different time in the market where these companies are able to generate such a high yield off of options. So again, PLTY is a synthetic options ETF that pays on a monthly basis, and PLTW is a weekly paying ETF. And the big distinction here is that it pays weekly, and it also holds about 20% of Palantir, the actual stock itself, right? Whereas PLTY is strictly synthetic options, meaning that they don't actually hold shares of Palantir. They just have a bunch of open options contracts, and then of course treasury notes, which is where most of these companies hold their cash, and just a bunch of open options. So I think PLTW will offer you a bit more price appreciation. If we look at the charts, right, we can see the past month PLTW is up 8%, and PLTY is actually up 12%. All right, so it's actually appreciated more than PLTW. But I think a reason for this is because of the weekly pay, and so they are. I don't know if they're overextending themselves. I would really like to let this one play out for a few more months and see exactly how it goes. But this one pays weekly. PLTY pays monthly. PLTY again is synthetic options, whereas PLTW is, they actually hold some of the old underlying. And then one more thing I want to show you guys, right? So I want to give you guys a comparison of the both. So we'll go ahead and pull up the dividendchannel.com, and we'll put PLTW versus PLTY to see the true total return against each other. All right, so we can see that PLTW from Roundhill, which again is the weekly paying one that actually holds Palantir shares as the underlying, has actually outperformed PLTY since inception. You can see that PLTW within the same time period is up 18% total return for an annualized gain of 60%, and PLTY is up 8% total return with an annualized gain of 26%, and this is with the dividends reinvested. And so I think it's important to note that that total return is important. All right, so although PLTW has a lowered yield, which it's still extremely high yield, but it is lower than PLTY, PLTW total return is still outperforming PLTY. So I know I kind of said a lot there, but basically what I'm saying is PLTW has outperformed PLTY on a total return basis. Now, if you're just looking for something with extremely high yield, then PLTY may be better suited for you. But it pays monthly, right? It pays once a month, whereas PLTW pays every single week. So again, it really just depends on what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for monthly, if you're looking for weekly, if you're looking for something that grows. I think another one more thing I missed, right, is that this one, PLTW, is leveraged. Now, I'm not fully educated on how leveraged ETFs work, but I do know where basically you're going to get a higher return on PLTW when Palantir itself spikes up, but when it goes down, you're also going to get more of the downside as well. So that's something to keep in mind, right? So if Palantir is performing well, PLTW is going to capture 120% of that weekly performance of Palantir, but you're also going to get that 120% on the downside. I was actually talking to Eugene Vasquez. He's another YouTuber as well, and he was kind of explaining it to me, but I think I need to get a little bit of a better understanding of it before I jump into either one of these. But you guys can go check out his channel as well. I'll link him down in the description. I think he's covered these ETFs several times in his videos, and he has a better grasp on how these leveraged ETFs work. But I think either way, you can't really go with, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these, man. Like, if you max out the charts on both of these, PLTW and PLTY, they're both up since inception. They're both paying extremely high dividend yields. And so I think when it comes to these, like most income ETFs, it's all about the price point that you get in, right? So if you look at the 52-week low on PLTY, it is at $46 a share, and the 52-week high is at $94. You can see that spike right there around mid-February of 2025. So it's all about at the price point that you get in. All right. So I think if I were to jump into PLTY, I would try to wait for it to drop below $60 a share, which it will, because as you know, every ex-dividend date, the dividend yield is extracted from the share price. So on ex-dividend date is probably the good opportunity to get in to something like this. And same thing with PLTY, right? Their 52-week low is $22 a share, and their high is $55 a share. So I personally would probably wait until it hits around $39.99 or lower, assuming that Palantir has a drawback, which I think it will, because right now we're at all-time highs. Palantir has been flying. And I think there is going to be a moment where it cools off a bit, and maybe the stock itself drops back down to 120 or lower. But you never know, right? You can't time the market. It may continue to keep going up, and who knows, by the end of the year, it may be 200 plus, or it may be less. Who knows, right? So, but either way, you guys let me know. I was excited to make this video because these are two ETFs that have been on my watch list. And I'm thinking about pulling the trigger on one of them, or maybe possibly even putting money into both of them here in the very, very near future. So you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think about PLTY? What are your overall thoughts on Palantir as an investment, whether it's the stock itself or one of these income ETFs? And if there's another Palantir income ETF that I'm not familiar with and I didn't mention in this video, put it down in the comments. You guys let me know. So as always, I appreciate you stopping by the channel, and I will catch you in the next video.